Ridiculous stupidness. Can you see my hands and stuff?
I can see your hands.
Because I'm a hand talker.
Yeah. You can still use your hands
Okay.
whenever you're ready.
What do you always do? You always do the double pistols, don't you? You do. You always go like this. The yak is not back, but oh god. What's up, you guys? I'm not the yak, but we are back for another Tech Tip Tuesday. And this Tuesday, we're gonna be talking about the basics of powder coating. We're gonna go through the prep work, kind of how it works, a few different things in between there, and then see the finished product. So what we're gonna be powder coating is my radiator hold downs off of my Mustang. As you can see, they look like crap. So when we start off, we always gotta start off with blasting the part. So you don't have to have this industrial size big blast cabinet, which obviously it's nice, but we just got this actually this week. We had like a Harbor Freight one that siphon feeds, doesn't have the pressure pot, and it worked, and it did what we needed to for a while. But we get things kind of like these 26s, and being able to fit them in there is a little bit of a struggle. And you know, this won't blast way faster, but at your guys' house you can get through this. Even for like $20, they have little blast guns that you can use that they work, especially for smaller stuff. We don't have good luck with chemical strippers like some people do. You know, some guys on YouTube put them in chemical stripping for 6 hours and then pull them out and then they blast them. You know, we just blast. So we're gonna blast this real quick. We're gonna show you how it looks like afterwards, and then go through the process of how we finish prepping it right before we go to powder. And we're only blasting this at, I think we get like 75 PSI out of it, because actually we got this massive sandblaster and now our air compressor can't keep up. So it keeps up for a while. It'll be enough to this, but I mean the compressor runs the whole time, so need another compressor. Yeah, you buy a $3,000 sandblast cabinet and then you need a $15,000 compressor to run it.
Who would have thought?
Yeah, makes sense if you don't think about it. So as you can see, it's pretty light. We do have a vacuum and all that, and then the compressor is going to run, so it's going to get pretty loud. But you can kind of see once you get in here, you need to be able to see it. And one trick to when you're doing this is it's a concentrated blast, and sometimes it's so fast you can't really see it. So if you start getting corners and edges like this, it seems like you can't get it, just move from side to side and work up and down, and it usually takes it off. You'll see like flat spots, it'll eat that right up, but then when you start to get in the sides, it tends to kind of slow down a little bit, and it gets aggravating, especially kind of in a back like this. But I think we're all pumped up, so let's turn our vacuum on and get going. Alright, so once we get pretty much everything blasted, all that kind of stuff, as you can see, most metal kind of gives you this little like real silver finish. This is a little bit older cast, and by the magical power of video editing, we have both of these done. And so usually once you're done with all this, I usually try not to touch them too much. So we're gonna blow these off with just some compressed air real quick, and then once that's up, we're gonna glove up and wipe them down with acetone. You don't have to stick with acetone. I've used brake cleaner, stuff like that, almost any kind of solvent. If it's older, if it's been on a car, if it's been on everything, I like to pre-bake them. And when you pre-bake, I like to pre-bake them for longer than they're going to be in the oven, and for like 50 degrees higher. So I use prismatic powders a lot, which is 400 degrees to bake them. So I'll pre-bake stuff like 450. These shouldn't be a problem, but if you have older parts, we did a grill off a 78 F100 and it murdered me. I had to redo it like 4 times because I didn't pre-bake it. You get little gas out bubbles. It's aggravating. But these shouldn't be too much of a problem. So let's go clean these off and then we'll get to powdering. Alright, so we wipe this down with some acetone. As we're wiping it down, you should wear gloves that way you don't get oils and all that kind of stuff over it. So we got them hung up with some wire in our booth. So little tip right here. So obviously we got this massive oven, but for small stuff like this we use a small oven. So when you do this, for one, you want the wire or whatever you're doing, you won't be able to ground it straight to the part. So we actually hook our ground up to here. This isn't going to leave any indentions or anything like that. And so what we can do is when you make the hoop, if you make something like what we got like this, if we would just hang it down like that, then when you put it in the oven, even on the rack, on the top rack with the hooks, it's real close to the burner. So I don't like to do it. So if you twist it like this, then we can hang it from here and pick it up from here, but then we put it on the hooks on that one and it makes it not so tall. I know it sounds simple, but it took us a little while to actually figure that one out, which we're not super proud to say. The color that we're going to be doing this is King Sport Gray. This is the color that if you have like a 03, 04 Terminator Cobra, my car is the Terminator Gray. Also, if you have a Super Duty, like a F250, F350, and it's a gray, this is what's gonna match it. This is from Prismatic Powders. I like Prismatic Powders, they seem to work the best. I've tried Eastwood, and I like Eastwood stuff. I have a small Eastwood gun, but Powders Prismatic is awesome. It's the same company that makes Cerakote. And so we just have the little dual voltage Eastwood, kind of like a hobbyist gun, like what you guys would kind of have. It's like 300 bucks, something like that. Because when I first opened, I didn't know like how much powder coating was going to take off. So we got this. We were going to upgrade the powder coat and stuff, but we decided to do a sandblaster. But this works fine. So first thing, so obviously we're running the same compressor. We want to turn our PSI down on our regulator. You can't run, 115 PSI. So Eastwood tells you that between like 8 and 10, but if you go to do some clear coats, once you do a clear coat and you kind of find it a little bit harder to stick, I like to run between 5 and 8. If it's a clear coat, I'll actually put it at 8 and I only crack the trigger like halfway. Because you'll notice if you go to the clear coat and if you have too much pressure or anything, it'll almost like blow it right off. It won't actually stick to the part. Because how powder coating works is you ground the part and the powder goes past an electrode. So it's almost like static electricity. It sticks to that part. And the more layers of powder coat you have, the more insulated it is, so it's hard for it to be attracted to it. So if you turn your pressure down, for me it sticks better. So I just crack mine barely when we start to get pressure. I mean literally as soon as you hear a little, you go through it. So we have a water separator, and then we have a dryer which we need to change out our beads in, but don't worry about that. But also I have another small little plug-in dryer in the gun too, because if you get water in your powder, you'll see it'll start sticking. It's all nasty. So at least make sure you do this. And you can run this off a little pancake compressor or anything like that. Just anything you can regulate down. Powdering does not take a lot of air. So you could do this in your garage with a little $30 compressor. So our air pressure set at about 5 or 6 PSI right now, and we'll see how this blows out. See if we can't burn ourselves. Alright, so as you can see, I run hooks in the front of the oven like that. We got a few different hooks. I take these out of the big oven. But so what I was saying is to run these, when you twist them, see, they don't hang down too far as they would the other way. So, and it gives me something to hold on to like that, so I don't burn the crap out of myself. So these, we're supposed to power it for 400 degrees for 12 minutes. That's not, the oven's at 400, we put it in, now we do 12 minutes. You'll undercure your part. You don't want to do that. It's actually when the part itself reaches 400, you start your timer. So we'll let these sit in here for a little bit, start our timer, and then we'll see when it flows out. So that's what we call flowing out. These still have about 10 minutes to bake, but when you look at the flow out, you can kind of see how it's going to go. If it's already messed up, then you might as well just take it out instead of finishing curing it, because it's easier to blast off this way. So. Alright guys, and that's pretty much it. I mean, without getting too much into the weeds to make it a long video. But they came out great. I mean, it's wild to see, you know, something that was junk and then it comes out, I mean, looking awesome and brand new. But that's going to be it for this week. If you guys have any questions, comment below. You know, we'll try to respond, and I'll try to respond. Subscribe to our channel, check us out, check out the other videos. This is our 3rd week pushing these out. We've done everything from TIG welding to powder coating, and we push out some car videos. We both have, I guess you could say, more than average cars, so we do some racing and stuff, and we got some builds coming up that are going to be awesome. And following those builds, you'll be able to see everything from pipe bending to welding to engine building to everything else. So check us out, subscribe, like us on social media. We have, you can Facebook and Instagram, Yaks Welding. Also, we have Patriot Performance and Automotive LLC on Facebook and Instagram. And make sure to like the video, and we'll see you next week.